Hello everyone, I'm Xiao Gang. Starting from this moment, we'll write HTTP for everyone. First, we'll still demonstrate it because we've already written a version of this plugin before. We'll still guide everyone through it again. This example is the one for getting network time. When we press 1, they can get this time. This time is obtained from the network. And this time is a Weller. Our region's time. It is not the local time, because the local time can be tampered with. And that's for this interface. We use this kind of interface. We use this kind of asynchronous callback interface. The advantage of this is that it will be very convenient to write. You don't need to, like before, write a subsystem and then attach a delegate. Can we write a subsystem and then attach a delegate? Of course, we can write it. So when do we choose to use a subsystem to attach a delegate instead of choosing this kind of one-step node? When this asynchronous request might need to be sent from many places, and it is sent very frequently, possibly at the same time. There are also different request timings. For example, right now I am requesting a service, the time of the requested login server. I am now requesting the time of our paid server. This does not necessarily have to be just a time request. You can request account name and user information. All of these are possible. Then binding a proxy at this point becomes very troublesome because you need to bind a proxy, then unbind a proxy, and then bind a proxy again, and then write a long chain of events afterwards. If you write it this way, it actually becomes very convenient for us to connect these pins, and because it is asynchronous, so after this part executes, it moves upward. But the actual result has not yet returned. It succeeds or fails. It goes through this specific pin, then it will come back. And the way this node is written, even if you go through this place, it can still retrieve information, just like we retrieve information here. It prompts you, this place's work is still in progress. Then when it finishes, it will go through success or failure. This pin pops up here. So this is a good example. So in this lesson, we will mainly guide you to write such a simple example. Either we turn it off first. Then similarly, we need to do some coarse-grained work. If I need this node, we'll write a separate protein for this. It seems to take up this space a bit. Let's just put it in a folder instead. Okay, we'll create our 025 right here, and it's called HTTP time. This lesson. Okay, then we'll create a corresponding level. I'll just show you the result of the creation directly. But one last thing to note is here, you'll notice that after the update, it looks different again, but it shouldn't affect everyone. Okay, I'll cut it out on my end. Okay, we've already created it on our end, but we're not very satisfied with this name. We need to change the name. Let's call it simple tai. Let's call it async. So the action, we haven't started writing code in different modules yet. And remember, for our constructor here, we must make it virtual. This is a very good habit. Okay, and let's not make this part too complicated for everyone. Once we have a constructor like this, then we switch it back. This is a native class, right? We haven't added anything yet. We add in later. Okay, now let's start adding. First, we definitely need an enum to indicate whether we are getting local time or network time. And for convenience, we'll just write it in one file. If we split it into many files and write a standard plugin architecture, it would be very redundant. Yeah, okay. Then let's add reflection first. Note, if you don't have reflection below, adding reflection now, it will actually report an error. So we must first, then we add a reflection to it. This class currently has no reflection. Right, let's write an enum first. This enum is actually used to identify which one we access. Let's add a simple, then talk about that kind of enum. Then here, for example, we are accessing this Taobao API, right? We need to have a suggestion. We definitely need an API 3. This API is this API, right? This one can be seen. It seems we wrote this API wrong. Let's try again. Okay. So this API is like this. We can open the network. Let's put it here. Let's refresh once more. You can see this is a GET request. Our GET request, and it returns a JSON. How many fields are there in this JSON? Then this thing is what we need. We tick the network time pep. we convert it. Then we can use it. So regarding this URL, we put it here. We can add more URLs here. For now, we'll use Taobao. You can use JD.com's Alibaba Cloud's tensions, right dances. That is, your internal network definitely cannot access the external network. Then we found a local one. This is on the local machine, right? Right. Okay, let's give it a local time. Taobao time. Okay, this sound is a hidden segment. Let's set it to use local by default. Okay, but local time might be tampered with. If you use local time on the server, it should be fine because the server is local time. We generally won't. Client users can't access it. Then you access your server through the client yourself and retrieve the server's local time. That is acceptable. We will directly provide you with a server later. That's what we did. And if you don't have a server now, you can only access the public network. So this will be a simple control for each round. A simple control like this. Then here, first import the module we want to use because we need to use HTTP. So we import it here and we import this HTTP module. In order, we'll just write it below. Because this is a project module, no one will include this project module either. So we write it below. Actually, the differences are not that big because no one includes this project module anymore. Unless you have an editor module and you still need to include this project module, you might need to pay attention to these modules when you need to import them into your second and third modules. This is worth distinguishing. Do not write this HTTPS. This HTTP, it won't be recognized. You must write HTTP in all caps because I've often made this mistake. I said, I know I need to write it this way here, okay? Then after importing this module, next we will go ahead and let our class inherit from it. Okay, it's not here, right? So we need to include it again. This case me thing. Okay, so what is it? It's actually a factory. This blueprint callable function, it is specifically used to write this kind of one-step node approach, and its blueprint node is a special way of creation. Then you can make more specifications. You can do this through your class's metadata. Use these things to do it. Then we will provide a fixed ID method. Now let's hide it. Hide its default shadow angle. What is the shadow angle? It's the unnamed shadow angle we just saw. I can't start it here. We still need to start it. Because this blueprint one-step node is a very advanced writing method. Because it nests our dynamic multi-wave. And also nests changes to blueprint nodes. So this writing method is relatively advanced. Okay, now let's make it start my other project. Wait a moment. Then we start it up. Let's look at this node. We'll hide this pin. Why hide this pin? Because its pedo pin doesn't have the data below. We need to use our own pin. This is called a custom pin. We need to replace this pin with our own custom pin. Only then can this data be passed to you. So that's what it means. Why is there a message here? Because we replaced the default execution pin for you. So I want to emphasize this point here because many people will definitely be confused about this. Then, the most important thing is this method. We need to override this active method. This method will be called by blueprint. So it is very important. Very important. Then, let's rewrite it here. Okay, after we finish rewriting here, then we need to add our pins here. Because we don't have pins yet, we can show you by executing it. Let's not execute it for now. Not executing for now, let's just click to run it. Because this is our first time covering this and it's quite complex. There's a compilation error here, right? The reason for the compilation error is simple. It's because we didn't follow our naming conventions here, so that's why it's wrong. Let's change this here. Note the things that need to be changed here. Make sure the changes are done properly. It's normal to have mistakes here. Let's also rename this square file name. No need to change it because this might contain multiple things. Using this file name is also fine. Let's start it up now. Let's take a look at this node. Actually, this node still doesn't exist yet. UGive. That is to say, right now, in the engine's level blueprint, this place, you can type Shaga X20. It actually doesn't have this node. So how do we make it have this node? Then you need to add a boot here. Then we make its return object, return a pointer like this. And at the same time, for this name, we can write the name like this. I usually like to write it this way. Then we put this enum as an input parameter in this position. Okay, and also pay attention, this can be called by blueprint. And it has a metadata. First, perhaps getting the world context. We won't explain that. Then we change this name. It's called Jiaogang, getting the HTTP asynchronous action. Then we change the prefix keyups. So we give this prefix a name. Okay, now pay attention here. This is Blueprint user only. What does this mean? It means this thing is only used internally by us. It will not be exposed to this blueprint. It's something used internally within our members here. Then we create its implementation like this. Okay, we need to return the control pane. We haven't written anything yet. It's fine for now. Okay, we are going to execute it now. Let's turn it off. Okay, let's wait for it to start up. This part might need to be a bit slower. Yes, because this is relatively difficult knowledge. And it's the first chapter of our HTTP content. We need to go a bit slower. Later, when it speeds up, we can quickly show everyone and paste out this basic template directly. Okay, let's find this XG. That's it. You will notice, right, at this point, we don't have this pin anymore because we hit it. This line means we selected a parameter. This is what we currently look like. Now we add it. This pin of ours. How should we add this pin? Actually, it's quite clear. Let's First, we need to declare a dynamic multicast. We declare a dynamic multicast. We'll declare it at this lower position. Lower, a bit lower. Okay? As for this dynamic multicast, its name is Yaogang, simple R-time elegant. Then it has 4 parameters. The first one is the ID of this EBO. Then this is the result. That is, the result of this EBO. Then this is the current result, a description about it. And this is its actual information. Look at this architecture. Isn't this a very commercialized architecture? The front parts are all common ones. Whether it's access time, getting user info, recharging and spending, it will always return these 3 pieces of information. That is your unique identifier, your result. Then your error code or error message. Then this one after, it is actually a generalization. This info in his response, it will, based on your different information, return the different information you actually need. We have a struct here. We still need to get this struct over. As for this struct, I'll paste it here. We won't write anything in this struct for now, because we are still in the framework building stage, so we can't write anything yet. This struct needs to have an exposed red. Yes, we don't have it yet. To prevent it from having strange issues, we give it this. Just 1 bit. Then we need to change this to a small cylinder. SIMP. Okay, then put it here. That's it. So this is us declaring a dynamic multicast. We need to take this dynamic multicast as an execution pin for our blueprint node. So how do we actually do it? Actually, we put it below. Let's bring it over here. So actually you have 3 pins. Just to place the 3 pins and stick them over. Make it smaller. It should be clearly visible. Put it here. Okay, now let's take a closer look. This entire straight pin of ours, what does it look like now? Note that we haven't written anything here yet. Nothing has been written yet. So this is just to set up the framework in the header file for everyone. Then you see what a blueprint looks like. So from the city up to the city down. Now we are at the stage of city up. After we finish the city up part, we then move to city down. Then we build out the entire middle layer. We also need to overlay the multi-thread layer of this different part. Things like networking. Okay, now let's look at this node. You'll see that this node appears here, right? These 3 dynamic multiwaves actually correspond to these 3 brothers, right? And when these three brothers execute, you will pass this information so that you can receive it in Blueprint. Then this execution, the actual execution you are looking for is this action. That is, Blueprint will call this function first. After this function finishes executing, it will call this activities function. So it looks like this. Yes, this is one of its trigger timings. We can set a breakpoint for everyone to show everyone. Then we will stop here for this lesson. Thank you all.